These hands are 104 years old. They buried a husband, raised 7 children, survived a war, and right now they're stronger than yours. She hasn't taken a statin in her life, never had chemotherapy, never spent one day in a nursing home. She wakes without an alarm, gardens without groaning, laughs without permission. I'm not old yet. I still have work to do. This isn't a genetic miracle. This is something you can learn. Welcome to Okinawa, Japan, the place where people simply forgot how to die, where women live longer than any population on Earth, 87 years on average, thousands blowing past 100 like it's nothing, where heart disease rates are 80% lower than America's, where cancer barely touches them, where dementia is so rare that when scientists first analyzed the data, they thought they'd made a catastrophic error. This is not about superior genes. Researchers tested that theory for 50 years and 30,000 blood samples. Genes explain only 20 to 30%. The rest? 9 daily habits, so simple, so ordinary, that the rest of the world walked right past them, chasing pills and surgeries and miracle cures. 9 habits that add decades to your life, and life to those decades. What if everything you've been told about getting old is a lie, carefully packaged and sold to you? What if frailty isn't inevitable? What if dementia isn't just bad luck? What if 70 doesn't have to feel like the beginning of the end? The proof is walking around at 100 years old, smiling, working, fully alive. Their secrets can become yours. Starting today. This is where the Blue Zone's story began, and where your second century begins too. Subscribe now, because the best time to start living like you'll reach 100 was 30 years ago. The second best time is right now. Welcome to Okinawa, Japan, the place where people simply forgot how to die, where women live longer than any population on Earth, 87 years on average, thousands blowing past 100 like it's nothing, where heart disease rates are 80% lower than America's, where cancer barely touches them, where dementia is so rare that when scientists first analyzed the data, they thought they'd made a catastrophic error. This is not about superior genes. Researchers tested that theory for 50 years and 30,000 blood samples. Genes explain only 20 to 30%. The rest? 9 daily habits, so simple, so ordinary, that the rest of the world walked right past them, chasing pills and surgeries and miracle cures. 9 habits that add decades to your life, and life to those decades. What if everything you've been told about getting old is a lie, carefully packaged and sold to you? What if frailty isn't inevitable? What if dementia isn't just bad luck? What if 70 doesn't have to feel like the beginning of the end? The proof is walking around at 100 years old, smiling, working, fully alive. Their secrets can become yours. Starting today. This is where the Blue Zone story began, and where your second century begins too. Subscribe now, because the best time to start living like you'll reach 100 was 30 years ago. The second best time is right now. In the fall of 2004, Dan Buettner and a team from National Geographic set out on an extraordinary mission: find the world's longest-lived people and figure out what they're doing right. They had a list of promising locations: remote mountain villages in the Andes, isolated Mediterranean islands, ancient monasteries in Tibet. They expected hidden tribes, secret rituals, maybe some mystical spring that no one had discovered yet. What they found in Okinawa was far more unsettling. Grandmothers doing yard work, not just doing it, flirting with the research team while doing it. 95-year-old women teasing these young American scientists, flexing their muscles, laughing at their soft hands and their expensive cameras. Dan Buettner, then in his mid-40s, stands in archival footage from that first expedition looking genuinely confused. He's surrounded by women old enough to be his great-grandmothers who have more energy than he does. We kept meeting people who were 95, 100, 105, he says to the camera, shaking his head, and they weren't in wheelchairs. They weren't in nursing homes. They were working in their gardens at 5 in the morning. Some of them were still teaching, and they kept asking us when we were getting married. The breakthrough came when the team gained access to Japan's Gozei system, a family registry that has tracked every single birth, marriage, and death in the country for over 130 years with obsessive precision. No guessing, no estimates, no inflated ages or fabricated birth certificates, just cold hard data stretching back to the 1800s. When they mapped the data, one location exploded off the charts like a nuclear reactor of human longevity. The northern villages of Okinawa's main island, especially a tiny place called Ogimi. Let me give you the numbers, because the numbers are absolutely staggering. Women in Okinawa have the highest life expectancy of any population ever measured on Earth, 87.4 years on average. Not 87 years of decline and medication and suffering. 87 years of life. They have 68 centenarians per 100,000 people. The United States has 22. That's 3 times more people living past 100. Their age-adjusted death rates from heart disease are 80% lower than America's. 80%. If you're Okinawan, your heart just keeps beating like it forgot it was supposed to fail. Cancer rates are 50 to 70% lower depending on the type. Breast cancer, colon cancer, prostate cancer, all dramatically reduced. But here's the statistic that made researchers think they'd miscalculated. Dementia rates among Okinawan elders are 80% lower than Americans of the same age. 80%. Think about what that means. 4 out of 5 cases of dementia that we accept as inevitable in the West simply don't happen here. Dr. Makoto Suzuki has been studying Okinawan centenarians since 1975. He's 88 years old now, sharp as a scalpel, still publishing research. We meet him in his office at the Okinawa Research Center for Longevity Science, surrounded by 5 decades worth of data, blood samples, and photographs of people who should not still be alive. When we started, he says in careful English, we thought maybe they had special genes, some genetic advantage. So we tested everything. We collected over 30,000 blood samples over 50 years. We sequenced DNA. We analyzed every biomarker we could find. He pauses, lets the weight of that number sink in. 30,000 blood samples, 50 years, and what we discovered is that genes explain only 20 to 30% of longevity, maybe less. The rest, 70 to 80%, is lifestyle. How they eat, how they move, how they think, who they spend time with. That's what matters. He leans forward, and his voice drops. This isn't a story about superhuman genetics. This is a story about supernormal humans who never stopped doing what the rest of us abandoned. Okinawa sits in the Pacific Ocean, roughly 400 miles south of mainland Japan. It's subtropical, which means it never gets too hot and never gets too cold. Winter temperatures hover around 60 degrees. Summer rarely breaks 90. The island is lush, covered in dense Yanbaru rainforest in the north, where most of the centenarians live. The coastline alternates between dramatic cliffs and gentle beaches. The water is so clear you can see 30 feet down to the coral reefs. The soil is volcanic, rich in minerals. Everything grows here with almost aggressive enthusiasm. Purple sweet potatoes, bitter melon, turmeric, herbs that don't even have English names. The geography matters. Okinawa was isolated enough to develop its own distinct culture, language, and food traditions separate from mainland Japan, but it was connected enough through trade routes to avoid the genetic problems that come from complete isolation. It's the Goldilocks Island. Not too hot, not too cold, not too isolated, not too connected, just right for human longevity to flourish. We're standing now at the entrance to Ogimi Village, population just under 3,000 people. There's a stone marker here that every visitor sees first. It's written in Japanese and English, and it says, "At 70, you are still a child. At 80, you are a young man or woman. And if at 90, someone from heaven invites you over, tell them, just go away and come back when I am 100. This isn't a joke. This is their actual philosophy, carved in stone at the village entrance. If you look at Ogimi's population pyramid, the chart that shows age distribution, it's completely inverted from what you'd see in America or Europe. In the West, our pyramids are heavy at the bottom with young people and taper to almost nothing at the top. Ogimi's pyramid is top-heavy. There are more people over 90 than under 10. Walking through the village, you notice certain things immediately. Gardens everywhere. Not ornamental gardens with flowers and mulch. Vegetable gardens. Every single house has one. Some are tiny, just a few square feet of purple sweet potatoes. Others sprawl across a quarter-acre with 20 different crops growing in organized chaos. There are no sidewalks in the traditional sense. People walk in the streets because there's hardly any car traffic. Everyone walks everywhere. The roads are narrow, winding, following the natural contour of the land. You can't speed here even if you wanted to. The community centers are buzzing with activity, not bingo and television. Traditional dance classes, karate instruction, weaving circles, cooking demonstrations, tea ceremonies. These aren't activities to pass time until death. These are life itself. And everywhere, you see people who should be frail and bent and struggling, who simply aren't. They're working, they're laughing, they're teaching, they're arguing about the best way to grow Goya. They're alive in a way that makes the word retirement sound like a slow death sentence. Gozei Shinzato, 104, the gardener. Gozei Shinzato wakes every morning at 5:30. Not because of an alarm clock, she doesn't own one. Her body just knows when the sun is about to rise. She's been doing this for 90 years. By the time most people are hitting snooze for the third time, Gozei is already squatting in her garden, hands deep in red volcanic soil, checking her purple sweet potato vines. She lost her husband when she was 62, 42 years ago. People asked if she'd remarry. She laughed at them. "My garden is my husband now," she says, gesturing to the rows of vegetables that feed her, her daughter, her grandchildren, and half the neighbors on her street. "It provides for me. It listens to me. It never argues. Better than any man I ever met." She harvests a purple sweet potato the size of a football and holds it up to the camera like a trophy. "This is my medicine," she says firmly. "Not pills. This." Gozei's diet hasn't changed in 9 decades. 98% plants. The same meals her grandmother made. Purple sweet potatoes, bitter melon stir-fry, miso soup with tofu, brown rice, seaweed, occasional small fish. "I never eat until I'm full," she explains, and there's an edge in her voice like she's correcting a child who should know better. "My grandmother taught me harahachibu. Eat until you're 80% satisfied. Leave room for tomorrow." She's eaten this way for 104 years. She's never counted a calorie, never been on a diet, never taken a supplement. She just stopped eating when she stopped being hungry. Imagine that. Seikichi Uehara, 103, the warrior. Seikichi Uehara has practiced karate for 88 years. Every single morning at sunrise, he performs the same kata, the same precise sequence of movements that he learned when he was 15 years old. We watch him move through the forms now. His body is slow, yes. The punches don't snap like they did 70 years ago, but the technique is absolutely perfect. Every stance, every breath, every transition. People misunderstand karate, he says after finishing, barely winded. They think it's about fighting, about defeating an opponent. He shakes his head. Karate is about breathing correctly until you die. Seikichi survived the Battle of Okinawa in 1945. 100,000 civilians died in that 3-month nightmare. He lost both his brothers. He watched his village burn. He hid in caves while bombs fell so close he could feel the heat through the rock. He should have died. Statistically, he should have developed PTSD so severe it shortened his life by decades. Instead, he's 103. Every morning I meditate, he explains. Every evening I meet with my moai, my lifelong friends. When the war ended, I made a promise. I would never drink alone, never eat alone, never carry pain alone. He's kept that promise for 79 years. He still grows all his own vegetables in a garden behind his house. Tomatoes, cucumbers, eggplant. He moves slowly between the rows, pulling weeds with the same precise attention he brings to karate. The earth teaches patience, he says. You plant, you wait, you harvest, you cannot rush it. Just like life, just like breathing. Matsu Taira, 100, the teacher. Matsu Taira has taught traditional Ryukyu dance for 81 years. Every Wednesday and Saturday, women between the ages of 70 and 85 gather in the community center to learn from her. They call themselves the youngsters, and they're not joking. Matsu moves through the choreography with them, correcting footwork, adjusting hand positions, singing the old Okinawan songs that most young people have never heard. If I stop teaching, she says, between demonstrations, who will remember these songs? Who will know the old dances? My ikigai, my reason for being, is bigger than my body. Ikigai is an Okinawan concept that doesn't translate cleanly into English. It's not a hobby. It's not a job. It's your reason for waking up, your essential purpose. Matsu never had children. She never married. Her students are her daughters. My body is old, she admits, looking down at her hands, which are gnarled with arthritis but still graceful when they dance. I have pain, my knees hurt, my back hurts. So what? Pain is just information. It doesn't control me. Her morning routine has been identical for decades. Tea ceremony at sunrise, 20 minutes of stretching, 30 minutes of dance practice alone in her living room. Her evening routine: moai gathering with 5 other women, storytelling, laughter, sometimes tears. People ask me about aging. She says, I tell them my body is old, yes, but my purpose is eternal. As long as I have something to teach, something to give, I'm not old. I'm just experienced. Kamada Nakazato, 101, the connector. Kamada Nakazato founded her village moai in 1947, 77 years ago. A moai is a lifelong social support group, typically 5 to 7 people who meet regularly and pool money for emergencies. But it's so much more than that. It's a chosen family, a tribe, a reason to show up even when you don't want to. Kamada's original group had 10 members. 3 are still alive. All 3 are over 95. Every Tuesday at 2 o'clock, they meet at Kamada's house. They've missed exactly 7 meetings in 77 years, all for hospitalizations. The meetings have no agenda. They drink tea, they gossip, they tease each other mercilessly, they talk about gardens and grandchildren and the neighbor who parks his car too close to the road. Sometimes they talk about death. Mostly they just sit together. Kamada has been widowed 3 times, 3 husbands, all dead. I buried 3 husbands, she says matter-of-factly, pouring tea. My moai buried none of me. She organizes everything in the village, festivals, dispute mediation, care schedules when someone gets sick. She knows everyone. She's the living connective tissue of the community. Loneliness kills faster than cigarettes, she says. And there's research backing this up. Connection is medicine, better than any pill. She pulls out a photo album, 77 years of faces, births, weddings, funerals, celebrations, tears. This is why I'm alive, she says simply. Not genetics, not luck, them. The war that should have killed them. Here's something that shouldn't make sense. Every single centenarian you've just met survived one of the most brutal battles of World War II, the Battle of Okinawa, spring of 1945. Over 100,000 civilians died in 3 months. Gozei hid in caves. Seikichi lost his brothers. Matsu watched her village burn. Kamada was separated from her family for weeks, uncertain if they were alive. They starved. They witnessed atrocities. They lived through trauma that should have carved decades off their lives. Post-traumatic stress disorder is strongly correlated with shortened lifespan. Veterans with PTSD die an average of 7 years earlier than those without it. Childhood trauma can reduce life expectancy by 20 years. And yet these survivors are living longer than any generation before or since. How Dr. Bradley Wilcox, co-principal investigator of the Okinawa Centenarian study, explains it this way. What we're seeing here is post-traumatic growth instead of post-traumatic stress disorder. The difference is social support. These survivors had their moais, they had their villages, they had each other, they processed the trauma together, they rebuilt together, they held each other's grief, so no one had to carry it alone. Trauma doesn't kill you if you're not alone with it, Dr. Wilcox says. It's the isolation that kills. The Okinawans never isolated. We watch elderly survivors visiting the Peace Memorial, arms around each other, crying and comforting simultaneously. They've been coming here together for 79 years. Then came the Americans. From 1945 to 1972, Okinawa was under U.S. military occupation. American culture flooded in. Fast food, processed meat, cars, convenience. Spam became a staple. Burgers and fries replaced purple sweet potatoes. Drive-thrus replaced walking to the market. And something fascinating happened. The Okinawan miracle split cleanly in half. The generation born before 1945, the people who grew up eating traditional food, walking everywhere, practicing moai, they're the centenarians, they're still thriving. The generation born after 1960, the ones who grew up with KFC and Coca-Cola and cars, they now have the highest obesity rates in Japan. Their life expectancy has dropped 8 years. Diabetes is epidemic among them. Same island, same genes, completely different outcomes. The split screen tells the story. On one side, 90-year-olds in gardens still vital. On the other side, 60-year-olds in hospitals already declining. The Okinawan longevity miracle isn't genetic. It isn't magic. It's lifestyle, pure and simple. And when the lifestyle changed, the miracle started dying. For the last 50 years, researchers have been trying to figure out what makes Okinawan centenarians different at a biological level. Dr. Makoto Suzuki's team has examined over 1,000 centenarians. Blood work, autopsies, lifestyle interviews, genetic analysis. They've measured everything that can be measured in a human body. The findings are remarkable. Okinawan 80-year-olds have arteries that look like those of American 50-year-olds. Clean, flexible, barely any plaque buildup. Their blood pressure barely rises with age. In the West, we expect blood pressure to increase every decade. In Okinawa, it just doesn't. Their bone density maintains into their 90s. Osteoporosis is rare. Hip fractures are almost unheard of. And most striking, their cognitive function remains sharp. They're not just living longer, they're staying mentally present. The goal isn't just to add years to life, Dr. Suzuki emphasizes it's to add life to years. And that's what we see here. They're living well, not just living long. At the cellular level, something extraordinary is happening. Telomeres are the protective caps at the ends of chromosomes, like the plastic tips on shoelaces. Every time a cell divides, telomeres get a little shorter. When they get too short, the cell stops dividing and dies. Telomere length is one of the best biomarkers of biological aging. Okinawan centenarians have telomeres that are significantly longer than Americans who are 20 years younger. Why? Lower oxidative stress. Their diet rich in antioxidants from purple sweet potatoes, turmeric, green tea, vegetables protects their cells from damage. Their lifestyle, low stress, strong social bonds. Purpose keeps inflammation down. They're aging more slowly at the cellular level. And then there's the gut. Recent research has revealed that gut bacteria diversity is one of the strongest predictors of longevity. The more diverse your microbiome, the longer you live. Okinawan centenarians have 30% more bacterial diversity than Americans of any age. Their guts are teeming with beneficial bacteria that reduce inflammation, produce vitamins, protect against disease. What feeds those bacteria? The purple sweet potatoes, the seaweed, the fermented miso, the fiber-rich vegetables. One researcher put it perfectly. Their guts are gardens. Ours are deserts. Every meal they eat is feeding trillions of beneficial organisms that are keeping them alive. The science is settled. We know what makes Okinawans live longer. It's not a pill. It's not a gene. It's not a miracle. It's 9 daily habits practiced so consistently they become unconscious. And those 9 habits, the Power 9, are exactly what we're going to walk through together, one by one, with the people who live them every single day. Across all 5 blue zones, Okinawa, Sardinia, Ikaria, Nicoya, and Loma Linda, Dan Buettner's team identified 9 shared habits that show up again and again in the longest-lived populations on Earth. They call them the Power 9. In some blue zones, you might find 6 or 7 of these habits, maybe 8 if you're lucky. In Okinawa, all 9 are on full, glorious display, not as conscious practices or New Year's resolutions, but as unconscious daily rhythms woven into the fabric of life itself. These aren't wellness trends. They're not biohacks. They're not things you do for 30 days and then quit. They're just how life works here. The 90-year-olds practicing them don't even know they're practicing them. They're just living the way their grandmothers lived, the way their great-grandmothers lived. going back generations, and those generations kept living and living and living. So let's walk through them one by one with the people who embody them every single day, not as theory, not as aspiration, as life. You will not find a single gym in traditional Okinawan villages. No treadmills, no weight rooms, no spinning classes or CrossFit boxes or Peloton bikes gathering dust in the corner. What you will find is 98-year-old women squatting fully hips below knees 30 to 50 times a day without thinking about it. Traditional Okinawan homes are designed for movement, tatami mat floors, no chairs, no couches, no dining room tables with cushioned seats. You sit on the floor, you eat on the floor, you work on the floor, which means you're getting up and down constantly. Every time you stand, you're doing a full body weight squat. Every time you sit, you're lowering yourself with control. Do that 30 times a day for 90 years and you understand why these people don't need physical therapy. Movement here comes in 3 forms, and none of them look like exercise. First, the gardens. 90% of centenarians maintain a daily garden. They're squatting to plant, bending to weed, carrying water, harvesting vegetables. It's low-intensity, high-frequency movement with purpose attached. You're not exercising. You're feeding yourself. You're feeding your family. You're connected to the earth and to your reason for being alive. Second, the walking culture. Until the 1980s, most villages had no cars. You walked everywhere, to the market, to your neighbor's house, to the community center. The average centenarian still walks 4 to 6 miles daily without ever calling it a workout. The terrain helps too, hills, stairs, rough paths that serve as natural resistance training. Third, the traditional arts, karate, dance, martial forms that require balance, flexibility, breath work, mental discipline. These aren't hobbies, they're lifelong practices. We watch Seikichi Uehara move through his morning kata, 103 years old, 88 years of daily practice, over 30,000 repetitions of the same movements. His body moves in slow motion now, but the form is perfect. Every stance precise, every breath deliberate. People ask me about exercise, he says, after finishing. I tell them, I don't exercise. I breathe. Every movement is meditation. Every breath is life. The science backs him up. Study after study shows that consistent low-intensity movement beats sporadic intense exercise for longevity. It's not about crushing yourself at the gym 3 times a week. It's about moving gently, constantly, forever. The average American sits 13 hours a day, commuting, working, eating, watching television. Sitting is our default position. Okinawans sit 3 to 4 hours daily, and when they do sit, they sit on the floor, which requires core strength and flexibility just to maintain. The contrast is stark. American retirees in recliners, bodies slowly calcifying. Okinawan elders in gardens, bodies still fluid and functional at 100. Tonight, sit on the floor during one meal, just one. Feel how different it is. Feel the muscles engaging. Tomorrow, spend 20 minutes in your garden, or squat while you pull weeds, or take a walk without calling it exercise, just call it living. That's what they do. That's all it takes. Ikigai is a Japanese word that doesn't have a clean English equivalent. The closest translation is reason for being, but that doesn't capture it fully. It's not your job. It's not your hobby. It's not something you do on weekends when you have time. It's your essential purpose. The reason you wake up in the morning, the thing that would make your absence felt if you disappeared. In Western culture, we retire, we stop working, we step aside to make room for younger people. We play golf, we travel, we wait. In Okinawa, there is no word for retirement. The village elders say it plainly, only lazy people retire. Matsu Taira is 100 years old. She has taught traditional Ryukyu dance every Wednesday and Saturday for 81 years. Her students range from 70 to 85. They call themselves the youngsters, and they mean it. We watch Matsu move through the choreography with them, her body slow but graceful, her voice strong as she sings the ancient songs. She corrects footwork, she adjusts hand positions, she demonstrates movements that women 50 years younger struggle to replicate. If I stop teaching, she explains between demonstrations, who will remember these songs? My students will die. Their children don't care about old dances. If I stop, the songs die with me. She pauses, looks directly at the camera. My ikigai is bigger than my body. As long as the songs need to be sung, I will sing them. Ikigai sits at the intersection of 4 questions. What do you love? What are you good at? What does the world need? What can you be rewarded for? Where those 4 circles overlap, that's your ikigai. For the centenarians here, the answers are clear. Teaching traditional crafts, growing food for family, preserving language and culture, caring for great-grandchildren. These aren't grand ambitions. They're daily acts of service that give life meaning. The research on this is overwhelming. The Harvard study of adult development, which followed people for over 80 years, found that people with a strong sense of purpose live 7 years longer than those without. A major study in Japan found that people with clear ikigai have 44% lower risk of heart disease, 30% lower risk of stroke, and significantly reduced all-cause mortality. Why? Purpose reduces cortisol. It strengthens immune function. It gives you a reason to take care of your health. When you have something to live for, you unconsciously make choices that support living. In America, retirement is often followed by death within 2 to 5 years. The purpose dies, the routine collapses, the body follows. Okinawans never face this crisis because the concept of retirement doesn't exist. Matsu will teach until she physically cannot. Gozei will garden until her hands stop working. Seikichi will practice karate until his last breath. Write down 1 sentence. What would you do every day even if no one paid you? That's your ikigai. Now protect it, schedule it, make it non-negotiable, because without it, you're already dying. These people have survived things that should have destroyed them. War, typhoons, poverty, the deaths of children, spouses, siblings, trauma that would cripple most people. And yet, when researchers measure their cortisol levels, the stress hormone, Okinawan elders have the lowest readings ever recorded in any population. How is that possible? The answer is simple. They have daily rituals to shed stress before it accumulates. The 5 daily downshift practices. First, the morning garden meditation. This isn't formal Zen meditation. No one's sitting cross-legged chanting mantras. They're just working quietly in the garden at sunrise, hands in soil, mind at peace. 30 to 60 minutes of presence before the day begins. The circadian reset from watching the sunrise. The grounding effect of touching earth. It's meditation without trying. Second, the afternoon tea ceremony. Not the elaborate formal version. Just neighbors gathering under the banyan tree with jasmine green tea, sitting together, talking about nothing important, laughing. The social connection itself is stress relief. One study found that daily social tea time reduces cortisol by 15%. Third, music. Every village has musicians. Someone always has a sanshin, the three-stringed Okinawan instrument. Impromptu performances break out at gatherings. Everyone sings the old folk songs. The emotional release is immediate. Science confirms this. Music lowers cortisol by 25%. Fourth, ocean gazing. Many centenarians spend 20 to 30 minutes daily just watching the waves, not exercising, not reading, just watching. It's meditative without any effort. The negative ions from ocean air boost mood, and there's wisdom in the watching. As one elder put it, the ocean teaches us that waves come and waves go. Our problems are the same. Fifth, moai, venting. Once a week, they gather with their lifelong friends and they get permission to complain, to cry, to rage, to be honest about how hard life is. And then, after the venting, comes laughter, perspective, support. They hold each other's sadness so no one has to carry it alone. In America, chronic stress is treated as normal. We wear busyness like a badge of honor. We brag about how little we sleep. We have no daily relief valves. The stress just accumulates, day after day, year after year, until it manifests as inflammation, disease, heart attacks, strokes, early death. Okinawans release stress every single day. They don't let it build. They don't let it win. Choose one practice. Just one. Spend 15 minutes tomorrow morning in a garden or watching the sunrise, or call a friend just to talk about nothing, or watch the waves if you live near water, or sit in silence and just breathe. Pick one. Do it tomorrow. Do it the day after. Do it until it becomes automatic, because stress will kill you faster than cigarettes. And the antidote is simpler than you think. Secret 4. Hara Hachibu, 80% rule. The 2,500-year-old diet hack. Before every meal, traditional Okinawans say a phrase, Hara Hachibu. It's a 2,500-year-old Confucian teaching that translates to eat until you are 80% full. It's said like a prayer, a reminder. Cultural programming passed down through generations. Stop eating when you're no longer hungry. Not when you're full, not when you're stuffed, when you're no longer hungry. There's a massive difference. Here's what most people don't know. There's a 20-minute delay between your stomach being physically full and your brain receiving that signal. If you eat until you feel full, you've actually overeaten by about 20%. Your brain just hasn't caught up yet. Okinawans stop eating before their brain gets the message. They leave the table slightly unsatisfied, and 20 minutes later, they feel perfectly content. The result? They consume 300 to 500 fewer calories every single day without trying. Not through dieting, not through restriction, just through cultural wisdom. The average Okinawan elder eats 1,800 to 1,900 calories daily. The average American eats 2,400 to 2,800. That difference, compounded over decades, is the difference between living to 100 and dying at 75. Caloric restriction is the only proven intervention that extends lifespan in every species ever tested: rats, mice, monkeys, humans. Eat less, live longer. The science is settled, but nobody wants to diet. Nobody wants to count calories. Nobody wants to feel hungry. Okinawans don't diet. They just practice Hara Hachibu. They do caloric restriction naturally as culture, without suffering. The benefits are extraordinary. Autophagy, cellular cleanup activates, insulin sensitivity maintains, inflammation decreases, mitochondrial efficiency improves. Your body gets better at being alive. Traditional Okinawan meals are served on many small dishes, 5, 6, 7 different plates, purple sweet potato, bitter melon stir fry, miso soup, tofu, seaweed, brown rice. It looks abundant. It feels like a feast, but the total volume is small. This is psychological genius. Your brain perceives satisfaction from visual variety more than from quantity. You feel like you've eaten a lot because you've tasted many different things, and there's no seconds culture. One serving is enough, always. We watch Gozei prepare her lunch. She's done this same meal for 90 years. Purple sweet potato, roughly the size of her fist. Bitter melon stir fry, about the size of her palm. Miso soup with tofu and seaweed, 1 cup. Brown rice, half a cup. Total calories, approximately 500. She eats slowly, puts her chopsticks down between bites, talks to her daughter, laughs. After 20 minutes, she stops with food still on her plate. Harahachibu, she says simply, I'm no longer hungry. Why would I keep eating? The average American restaurant entree contains 1,200 calories. 1 plate, 1 meal. Gozei's entire daily food intake is 1,800 calories across 3 meals. And she reports the same level of satisfaction. No hunger, no deprivation, just enough. Americans are conditioned from childhood. Clean your plate, don't waste food. Bigger portions equal better value. We've lost the ability to recognize satisfaction versus fullness. Okinawans never learned to confuse the two. Tonight, serve yourself a normal portion. Then, before you eat, put 20% back, or use smaller plates, salad plates instead of dinner plates. Your brain won't register the difference. Say harahachibu before you eat. Make it a ritual. Stop when you're no longer hungry, not when you're full. There's your extra decade. Secret 5, plant slant. For over 600 years, the purple sweet potato has been the foundation of the Okinawan diet. It wasn't a health choice. It was economics. Rice was expensive. Sweet potatoes were cheap, hardy, and grew abundantly in volcanic soil. So they ate sweet potatoes 2 to 3 every single day for generations, and accidentally created one of the most nutrient-dense diets on Earth. Purple sweet potatoes contain more antioxidants than blueberries. They have a low glycemic index, so blood sugar stays stable. They're packed with fiber for gut health, loaded with vitamin A, vitamin C, potassium. They taste like dessert, but function like medicine. Traditional Okinawan diet breaks down like this: 95% plants, 5% animal products. Pork is eaten only on special occasions. Festivals, celebrations, weddings. Not daily, not weekly, maybe monthly. Fish appears in small amounts, once or twice a week. Small fish, not steaks. Eggs are rare. Dairy doesn't exist. Lactose intolerance is common among Okinawans, and cow's milk never became part of the culture. Everything else is plants, vegetables, legumes, grains, seaweed, herbs. First, Goya bitter melon. It tastes absolutely terrible the first time you eat it, bitter beyond belief. But it contains charantin, a compound that mimics insulin. Before the Western diet arrived, diabetes was virtually unknown in Okinawa. Goya champuru bitter melon stir fry is still the signature dish. Second, tofu, eaten daily, roughly 4 ounces, high in phytoestrogens that balance hormones and protect bones. Okinawan women have some of the lowest osteoporosis rates in the world. Third, seaweed, kombu, mozuku, hijiki, multiple varieties consumed regularly, iodine for thyroid function, fucoxanthin for metabolism, powerful anti-inflammatory compounds. Fourth, turmeric, mixed into tea, soups, rice. Curcumin is one of the most potent anti-inflammatory compounds known to science. Brain protection, cancer prevention. Fifth, mugwort, used in tea, rice, even sake. An antioxidant and digestive aid. Traditional medicine for seemingly everything. Sixth, shikuwasa Okinawan citrus, a lime-lemon hybrid that contains 6 times more nobletin than regular citrus. Nobletin is strongly associated with reduced dementia risk. They drink it daily, fresh squeezed in water. Seventh, sweet potato greens, not just the tuber, the leaves too. Higher in nutrients than spinach, and free since they grow while the potato grows. Walk through the Ogimi Farmers Market and you'll see over 200 different plant varieties. Many are foraged wild plants with no English names. Others are cultivated in backyard gardens. The diversity is staggering. And diversity is what matters for the microbiome. The more varied your plant intake, the healthier your gut bacteria. The Adventist Health Study, which followed over 96,000 people, found that vegetarians live 7 to 15 years longer than meat eaters. The Okinawan evidence goes further. Near vegetarian equals near immortal. The mechanism is clear. Fiber feeds beneficial gut bacteria. Those bacteria reduce inflammation throughout the body. Less inflammation means less heart disease, less cancer, less cognitive decline. 60% of the American diet is ultra-processed food, packaged, preserved, engineered for shelf stability and profit, not health. 0% of the traditional Okinawan diet is ultra-processed. Everything is made from scratch. Nothing comes in a box. The result, American gut bacteria are impoverished. Okinawan gut bacteria are thriving gardens. This week, add 1 purple sweet potato. Bake it, eat it like you'd eat a regular potato. Notice how satisfying it is. Make 1 meal this week, 100% plants. No meat, no dairy, just plants. See how you feel? That's the beginning. Secret 6, wine at 5 Okinawan version, awamori and shikuwasa. Traditional Okinawans drink far less than people in other blue zones. Sardinians drink wine daily. Hikarians drink wine daily. Okinawans, maybe 2 to 3 drinks per week, total. When they do drink, it's awamori, Okinawan rice spirit, or mugwort infused sake. Small amounts, always with food, always with friends, never alone. Awamori is distilled from indica rice and aged underground in clay pots. Some bottles are decades old, passed down through generations. It has lower alcohol content than Western spirits. It's infused with herbs, mugwort, turmeric that add health benefits, and it's sipped slowly, not shot back. The drinking isn't about getting drunk. It's about the ritual, the toasts, the songs, the stories that get told over shared cups. Most centenarians prefer shikuwasa juice to alcohol. Fresh squeezed Okinawan citrus mixed with water and a touch of honey. It's high in nobletin, the longevity compound. It tastes bright and refreshing, and it serves the same social function as alcohol without any of the downsides. Happy hour exists here, but the happiness comes from the gathering, not from the drink. Friday evenings, moai groups gather. Someone brings a bottle of awamori. Small cups are passed around. There are toasts, laughter, old songs sung badly. The amount consumed matters far less than the context. Shared, social, moderate. The data on moderate drinking is mixed. One drink per day might have slight cardiovascular benefits, or it might not. The science keeps changing. What's clear is that heavy drinking 3 or more drinks daily shortens life significantly. Okinawans average 2 to 3 drinks per week, well below even the moderate threshold. And the social aspect seems to matter more than the alcohol itself. Connection is what heals. The drink is just an excuse to connect. If you drink, make it social and moderate. Never alone. Never to cope with stress. Always with food and friends. If you don't drink, try shikuwasa juice. You can order it online. Mix it with sparkling water. Enjoy it during your own happy hour with people you love. The point isn't the beverage. The point is showing up for each other. Secret 7. Belong family first. Traditional Okinawan homes hold 3 generations under one roof. Grandparents, parents, children, sometimes great-grandparents too. This isn't out of economic necessity or cultural obligation. It's by design. Elders are never isolated, never forgotten, never warehoused in institutions where they wait to die. They have constant purpose, watching grandchildren, cooking meals, teaching traditional skills, telling family stories. The younger generations care for the elders, and the elders remain vital because they're needed. For the elders, daily interaction, sense of purpose, love, engagement with life. For the parents, free child care, access to accumulated wisdom, reduced stress from shared responsibilities. For the children, cultural transmission, respect for aging, broader perspectives on life stages. The research is clear. Elders living in multi-generational homes live 5 years longer on average than those in assisted living facilities. 5 years. Just from not being alone. After the 1970s, Western-style nuclear families became more common in Okinawa. Young couples moved into their own apartments. Elders were left behind. Nursing homes appeared for the first time in Okinawan history, places that didn't exist before because they weren't needed. And suddenly there's a loneliness epidemic among youth who work too much and live alone, among elders who raised entire villages but now sit in rooms staring at walls. Both generations are suffering from the separation. Not every centenarian here has children. Kamada never married. Matsu never had kids. But they're not alone. For them, moai becomes family. Neighbors become kin. The village becomes the household. Family is not blood, Kamada says firmly. Family is who shows up day after day, year after year. Family is who holds you when you fall and celebrates when you stand. Blood doesn't make family. Time does. She's 101 years old and she's never lived alone a day in her life. Not because of biology, because of choice. In Okinawa, aging is celebrated. The 88th birthday Yakudoshi is a massive celebration. The 97th birthday Kajimaya is treated like a second childhood, complete with parties and gifts. Elders are honored. Their wisdom is sought. Their stories are treasured. The West discards its elders. Okinawa enshrines them. Call your oldest living relative today, right now, not tomorrow, today. Ask them about their childhood. Record the conversation. Those stories will disappear when they do. And if it's possible, if there's any way to make it work, invite them to live with you. Share your space. Share your life. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's complicated. Yes, Western homes aren't designed for it. But 5 extra years with someone you love is worth the complication. And you might accidentally save your own life in the process. Secret 8. Belong, Moai, the right tribe. Moai is an ancient Okinawan mutual aid system that goes back centuries. When children turn 5 to 7 years old, the village assigns them to a lifelong group, 5 to 7 kids, usually of similar age, bound together permanently. Each month, every family contributes a small amount, originally 100 yen, now adjusted for inflation. The money pools. If someone gets sick, the fund pays for care. If someone dies, it pays for the funeral. If someone's house is damaged in a typhoon, it pays for repairs. But the money is secondary. The real purpose is social connection, economic security, survival through relationship. There's a famous moai in Ogimi that meets every single Tuesday. 5 women, average age 92. They've met every Tuesday since 1942. 82 years. No breaks. They started with 100 yen monthly contributions when they were children. Now they bring tea and sweets and laughter and tears, and we're allowed to observe one of their gatherings. The women are crammed into Kamada's small living room. No agenda, no structure, pure presence. They talk about their gardens, their great-grandchildren, the neighbor whose dog won't stop barking, village gossip that matters only to them. They tease each other ruthlessly, finish each other's sentences, hold hands while they talk. One brings tea, another brings homemade sweets. The responsibilities rotate. The meeting lasts 3 hours. No one checks the time. No one has anywhere more important to be. The Moai rules, unspoken but universal. After decades of studying these groups, researchers have identified 7 unspoken rules. Show up, no matter what. Sickness is the only exception. Otherwise, you show up. Be honest. Real vulnerability is required. Surface-level chat doesn't count. Complain, cry, vent freely. No judgment. What's said here stays here. No fixing each other, just witnessing. Shared burden. If one person hurts, everyone helps. Emotionally, financially, physically. Shared joy. Celebrate everything together. Birthdays, grandchildren, small victories, everything. Financial trust. Money is pooled transparently, used only for members' needs. No interest, no debt, just support. Lifetime commitment. You don't quit, ever, until death. Each member contributes $50 to $100 monthly now. The fund covers medical emergencies, home repairs, funeral costs, education for grandchildren, disaster recovery, no banks, no insurance companies, no interest, no bureaucracy, just mutual support that's lasted generations. But the money is the smallest part. The real safety net is emotional. You have permission to be weak. Someone is always checking on you. If you miss a meeting, they come to your house. Loneliness becomes structurally impossible. The Harvard study of adult development followed people for 85 years. The conclusion, after 8.5 decades of data, is unequivocal. The number one predictor of health and happiness is the quality of your relationships. Not money, not career, not achievement. Relationships, social connection, adds 7 to 15 years to lifespan. Loneliness is equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes daily in terms of health impact. Moai is the longevity superpower. We ask each woman what the Moai means to her. I buried 3 husbands. My Moai buried none of me. We've cried more than we've laughed over 80 years. But we cried together. That's what matters. When my son died, they slept at my house for 3 weeks. Took shifts. I was never alone with the grief. I don't fear death. I fear leaving them. But they'll send me off right. They'll remember me correctly. We fight sometimes. Sisters fight. But we never leave. That's the difference between friends and Moai. Friends leave. Moai never leaves. 1 in 3 Americans reports chronic loneliness. Elderly isolation is a public health crisis. We've institutionalized loneliness through nursing homes and assisted living facilities where people die surrounded by strangers. This is the opposite of Moai. Around the world, non-Okinawans are creating intentional Moais. The Tuesday Sisters in Austin, Texas have met for 12 years. Forever 5 in London, 8 years. Wednesday Warriors in Sydney, 15 years. The rules adapt. The core remains. Show up, be real, commit forever. Text 4 to 6 friends right now. Today, use these exact words. I want to create a Moai, a group that meets weekly for the rest of our lives. No agenda, just deep connection. Are you in? Start next week. Meet weekly. Make it non-negotiable. That simple text could add 15 years to your life. Secret 9, right tribe, community over individualism. Okinawan villages don't function like Western neighborhoods where people live side by side but separate. They function as extended families. Everyone knows everyone in villages of 500 to 2,000 people. There's collective responsibility for all members. No one is forgotten. No one is abandoned. Every morning, you greet every person you see. Not acknowledging someone is considered deeply rude. Shared festivals happen, monthly harvest celebrations, seasonal observances, ancestor commemorations. Entire villages participate. Everyone contributes. Cooking, setup, performances. Community gardens mean plots are side by side. You're working alone but surrounded. Help is always 1 row over. Volunteer rotation is expected. Road maintenance, festival preparation, elder care. Neighbors check on the oldest residents daily. If you gain weight, people mention it, not cruelly with concern. You're eating too much. Your face is fuller. What's wrong? If you stop gardening, neighbors ask why. If you're eating poorly, your Moai teases you. Social accountability becomes health accountability. The tribe keeps you honest. There are monthly celebrations, always. Harvest, seasons, ancestors. Every event involves the whole village. Babies to centenarians. Everyone contributes. The purpose isn't just entertainment. It's maintaining connection, creating joy, transmitting culture to the next generation. Unemployed? The village finds you work. Disabled? The village provides care. Grieving? The village surrounds you. Celebrating? The village joins you. This isn't charity. This is how community works. You contribute when you can. You receive when you need. Over a lifetime, it balances. American culture worships independence. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. I don't need anyone. I got here on my own. Isolation becomes a badge of honor. Asking for help equals weakness. The result is loneliness, disconnection, early death. Humans evolved in tribes of 50 to 150 people. For 200,000 years, we lived communally, shared resources, raised children collectively, cared for elders together. Solo living is a biological mismatch. Our bodies aren't designed for it. Our brains aren't wired for it. Okinawans never forgot this fundamental truth. Their villages recreate the tribal structure our species evolved in. Their right tribe isn't a friend group. It's everyone. The entire village is the tribe. This week, introduce yourself to 3 neighbors. Not just wave, actually talk. Learn their names. Ask about their lives. Join one local community group, garden club, walking group, volunteer organization, religious community, book club, doesn't matter which. Just join something where you see the same faces weekly. Show up consistently. Let them know you. Let yourself be known. Because individualism is killing us. And the cure is sitting right next door, waiting for you to knock. There are 2 Okinawas living side by side on the same island, breathing the same air, looking at the same ocean, and they might as well be on different planets. Old Okinawa, the generation born before 1945, is still thriving into their hundreds. Their gardens overflow with purple sweet potatoes. They meet with their moais every single week. They live in traditional wooden homes with tatami floors. They walk everywhere. They eat 98% plants. Their community bonds are unbreakable. New Okinawa, the generation born after 1960, now has the highest obesity rates in Japan. Life expectancy for men has dropped 8 years in just 2 decades. Diabetes is epidemic. Western fast food restaurants dominate every corner. Car culture has replaced walking by 70%. Moai participation among people under 60 is down 80%. Same island. Same genes. Completely opposite outcomes. What happened between those 2 generations? America happened. From 1945 to 1972, Okinawa was under U.S. military occupation. American military bases still cover 20% of the main island today. With the Americans came their food. Burgers, fries, soda, processed everything. McDonald's opened in 1976 and was treated like a luxury. KFC became so popular it's now an Okinawan Christmas tradition. Families line up for hours to get fried chicken on December 25th. Convenience stores replaced community markets. Drive-thrus replaced walking to the village center. Speed replaced presence. 3 specific changes are destroying the Okinawan miracle. First, diet westernization. Purple sweet potato consumption is down 90% since 1960. Young Okinawans replaced it with white rice, white bread, and meat. Traditional foods became stigmatized as poor people food. Fast food became a status symbol. Look at the contrast. A 1950s meal consisted of purple sweet potato, goya, tofu, seaweed, and miso soup. Total 450 calories of nutrient-dense food. 2020's meal, burger, large fries, soda, ice cream. Total 1,800 calories of nutritionally empty food engineered to be addictive. The result is predictable. Obesity, diabetes, heart disease, the very diseases that barely existed in old Okinawa. Second, movement collapse. Car ownership rose from 5% in 1960 to 95% by 2000. Walking declined 70%. Gardens were paved over for parking lots. Farming jobs disappeared, replaced by sedentary office work. Young Okinawans today walk 1/5 the distance their grandparents walk. Their bodies are aging faster at 30 than their grandparents' bodies are aging at 90. Third, social fragmentation. The nuclear family model replaced multi-generational households. Young people moved to cities for work. Villages depopulated as youth fled to Naha, the capital. Moai participation among people under 60, less than 20%. Elders are being left behind, increasingly isolated, and the young people working 60-hour weeks in cities are lonely too, living in tiny apartments, eating convenience store food, scrolling through phones instead of talking to neighbors. Both generations are suffering from the separation. Okinawa was discovered and designated as a blue zone in 2004. By 2015, just 11 years later, researchers were already documenting its decline. The knowledge is being recorded as it dies. The centenarians are watching their own grandchildren age faster than they did. They're burying their children and knowing their great-grandchildren will die even younger. Dr. Suzuki is 88 now, still researching, still trying to sound the alarm. We meet him one last time in his office, surrounded by 50 years of data that nobody seems to want to hear. "We are witnessing the end of the Okinawan miracle in real time," he says quietly. "The generation that holds the secrets is dying. They're trying to pass the knowledge down, but their children don't want to learn. Their grandchildren think the old ways are embarrassing." He looks directly at the camera, and his voice cracks slightly. "In 20 years, there will be no more centenarians like this. The last ones will die, and Okinawa will become just another place where people get sick and die young. Unless," he pauses, "unless people outside Okinawa, people like you, decide that this knowledge is worth saving, worth practicing, worth fighting for." Fumi Higa, 102, the truth teller. Fumi Higa sits on her traditional porch, back straight, eyes sharp. At 102, she has no patience for politeness. She speaks directly to the camera. Directly to you. Young people say they're too busy for moai, too busy for gardening, too busy to cook real food. I tell them, you're not too busy. You're just choosing to die earlier. They think modern life is progress, fast food is convenient, cars save time, but for what? To work longer hours? To sit in traffic? To watch television alone in an apartment? We were poor. We had nothing, not even shoes sometimes. But we had time for each other. We had time to cook. We had time to sit under trees and talk about nothing. Now they have everything: money, cars, technology, convenience, and no time for life. She lists what she observes in young Okinawans, working 60-plus hours weekly, eating convenience store food, 3 meals a day, living alone in apartments, no gardens, no community, no clear purpose. They are already dead, she says flatly. They just don't know it yet. Their bodies are still moving, but they stopped living years ago. The Americans taught us how to die quickly, how to eat garbage and call it food, how to sit in boxes and call it living, how to be alone and call it independence. I'm trying to remember how to live slowly, the way my grandmother lived, the way her grandmother lived. But I won't live forever. I'm 102. I have maybe 5 more years if I'm lucky. When I die, this knowledge dies with me unless you carry it forward. She points at the camera. Unless you... Kamada Nakazato, 101, the mourner. Kamada sits with her moai photo album, 77 years of faces. She turns the pages slowly. Every time one of us dies, I think, who will remember our songs? Who will know the old ways of doing things? Who will tell our stories? We tried to teach our daughters. They learned some. They know how to make Goya champuru. They know the moai matters. We tried to teach our granddaughters. They were too busy They smiled and nodded and never came to meetings. Now, our great-granddaughters, they don't even speak Okinawan dialect. They speak Japanese. Some speak English, but our language, the language these songs are sung in, dead. The language dies. The songs die. The wisdom dies. She looks up from the album, and there are tears in her eyes, but also something like hope. But I see people from other countries coming here. Americans, Europeans, Australians. They ask questions, they take notes, they want to learn. My own great-granddaughter doesn't care. But maybe you do. Maybe you will save what our own grandchildren won't. Seikichi Uehara, 103, the philosopher. We watch Seikichi perform kata one last time. He knows this is likely his final interview. His body is failing, but his form is still perfect. After finishing, breathing heavily but steadily, he speaks. I have practiced karate for 88 years. Every single day. The same movements, over and over. When I started, my teacher was 90 years old. He learned from his teacher, who lived to 101. This wisdom is 300 years old, passed body to body, teacher to student. But I have no student who will practice every day like I did. No one wants to do the same thing for 88 years anymore. They get bored after 88 days. So the chain breaks with me. This is happening everywhere in Okinawa. All the chains are breaking. He looks directly into the camera. If you're watching this, you are my student now. I give you everything I know. Move every day. Never stop moving. Find your purpose. Serve it until you die. Never eat alone. Never eat too much. Choose your tribe carefully. Honor them forever. That's it. That's the secret. Now you know. What will you do with it? This isn't just happening in Okinawa. All 5 blue zones are under threat. In Sardinia, young people are abandoning mountain villages for cities. The shepherds who walk 10 miles daily are dying off. Their grandchildren sit in offices in Rome. In Ikaria, the first McDonald's is being built. American tourists bring American expectations. The afternoon nap culture is fading. In Nicoya, Costa Rica, Western processed foods are infiltrating local markets. Coca-Cola trucks reach villages that were untouched a decade ago. Even in Loma Linda, California, the only blue zone in America, younger Seventh-day Adventists are leaving the church, abandoning the plant-based diet, losing the community that kept their grandparents healthy. 1950s through 1990s, blue zones at their peak, longevity maximized, communities thriving. 2000 to 2010, discovery and documentation. Researchers racing to record everything. 2010 to 2020, visible decline begins. Fast food arrives. Young people leave. Traditional practices fade. 2020 to present. Accelerating losses. The last generation of centenarians is dying. Their knowledge is dying with them. 5 forces are killing the blue zones. Globalization spreading Western diet and culture everywhere. Urbanization pulling young people to cities. Technology replacing face-to-face connection with screens. Economic pressure demanding longer work hours that kill community time. Marketing from processed food companies aggressively targeting these regions. Researchers are racing to document everything before it's gone. Interviews with centenarians have become urgent. DNA is being banked. Lifestyles are being recorded in desperate detail. One researcher put it bluntly, "We're documenting a dying species." Blue zones were accidentally created by conditions nobody wanted, poverty that prevented buying processed food, isolation that delayed Western culture's arrival, necessity that forced people to grow their own food and support each other. As those conditions disappear, as people get wealthier, more connected, more modern, the blue zones disappear too. Can blue zone wisdom survive without blue zone conditions? Can you live like an Okinawan centenarian while working a corporate job in suburban America? Can you practice moai when your friends live scattered across a city? Can you garden when you live in an apartment? We're about to find out, because you're the experiment now. You don't need to move to Okinawa. You don't need to speak Japanese or Okinawan dialect. You don't need to eat purple sweet potatoes 3 times daily or sit on tatami floors or join a centuries-old village. You just need to understand the principles underneath the practices and adapt them to your life, your culture, your reality. Here's how the 9 principles adapted for modern life. Principle 1, move naturally. Design your environment for movement. The Okinawan way. Gardens requiring daily movement, no furniture forcing, floor sitting, hills and stairs everywhere. Your way has 3 tiers. Beginner level. Park at the back of parking lots for an extra 200 steps. Take stairs instead of elevators. Stand during phone calls. Set a timer to stand and stretch every 30 minutes. Intermediate level. Replace your office chair with a standing desk for half the day. Buy a floor cushion for watching television. You'll get up and down 10 times daily. Start a container garden even on a balcony. Walk to nearby errands instead of driving. Advanced level. Remove your couch entirely and sit on the floor. Garden 30 minutes daily. Walk or bike your commute. Learn Tai Chi, yoga, or a martial art, and practice 15+ minutes daily. 4+ hours of movement daily, not exercise, just life. Principle 2, purpose. Find your non-negotiable reason. The Okinawan way. Everyone knows their ikigai by age 10, usually family, teaching, growing food, preserving culture. Your way is a 3-week discovery process. Week 1, answer these questions daily and notice patterns. What would you do every day even if no one paid you? What do people ask you for help with? What topic can you discuss for hours? What did you love doing as a child? Week 2, test 3, potential ikigais. Volunteer teaching or mentoring. Create or build something useful. Care for someone or something. Week 3, choose one. Schedule it non-negotiably. Real examples. A 67-year-old in Texas teaching free coding classes. A 72-year-old in the UK restoring vintage tools for a museum. A 69-year-old in Australia recording family oral histories. Principle 3, downshift daily stress shedding ritual. The Okinawan way, morning garden meditation, afternoon tea with neighbors, music, ocean gazing. Your way. Pick 2 practices and do them daily at the same time. Morning options. 15-minute walk before touching devices. Garden or tend house plants. Stretch while coffee brews. Watch the sunrise for 5 minutes. Evening options. Device-free, hour before bed. Bath with Epsom salt. Play an instrument or sing. Sit on your porch watching people. Call one friend just to talk. The key is consistency. Same time daily until it becomes automatic. Science backs this. Daily rituals reduce cortisol 23% and improve sleep quality 43%. Principle 4, Harahachi-bu, the 80% rule hacks. The Okinawan way, say Harahachi-bu before eating. Cultural programming to stop at 80% full. Your way uses 5 practical hacks. The smaller plate. Use salad plates for meals. Your brain perceives fullness from visual cues. automatic 30% calorie reduction. The 20-minute rule. Serve yourself a normal portion. Before taking seconds, wait 20 minutes. The fullness signal arrives, and you won't want seconds. The half order. At restaurants, order an appetizer as your meal or split an entree with someone. Save money and calories. The hand measure. Protein should be palm-sized, carbs fist-sized, fat thumb-sized, vegetables unlimited. The preload. Drink 16 ounces of water before meals. Eat salad first. You're already 20% full before the main dish arrives. Goal: 300 to 500 fewer daily calories, unconsciously. Principle 5. Plant slant, the 80/20 plant ratio. The Okinawan way, 95% plants, 5% animal products. Everything made from scratch. Your way is a progressive 12-week transition. Weeks 1 through 4. Add 1 plant-based meal daily. Keep everything else the same. Example: oatmeal with berries for breakfast. Weeks 5 through 8. Make 4 out of 5 dinners fully plant-based. Weekends stay flexible. Weeks 9 through 12. Fill your plate with plants first. Add animal products as garnish, not centerpiece. Easy swaps: purple sweet potato instead of white potato, tofu scramble instead of eggs 3 times weekly, lentil bolognese instead of beef, nut milk instead of dairy. Shopping essentials: sweet potatoes, beans, lentils, tofu, leafy greens, cruciferous vegetables, whole grains, nuts, seeds, olive oil. Principle 6. Wine at 5. Social, moderate, mindful. The Okinawan way, 2 to 3 drinks weekly, always with friends, always with food. If you drink, never alone, always with a meal. Limit 1 to 2 drinks, 2 to 3 times weekly. Make it special, not habitual. If you don't drink, keep the social aspect with happy hour tea, coffee, or mocktails. The point is connection, not alcohol. Red flags: daily drinking, drinking to cope with stress, drinking alone. Principle 7. Belong, family, reconnect, or redefine. The Okinawan way, multi-generational homes, daily family contact. If family is nearby, video call parents or grandparents twice weekly minimum. Make Sunday family dinner non-negotiable. Involve elders in child care if applicable. Consider multi-generational living. If family is distant, daily 5-minute check-in calls, monthly visits if possible, video calls during shared activities like cooking together remotely. If family is estranged or toxic, create chosen family through moai. Find mentor figures in elder neighbors or community centers. Volunteer with seniors. Call your oldest living relative today. Principle 8. Belong, build your lifelong tribe. The 4-step moai creation protocol. Step 1. Identify 4 to 6 candidates who you genuinely like, who live nearby, who share similar life stages and values, and who will commit long-term. Step 2. Send this invitation. I want to create something intentional, a group that meets weekly for the rest of our lives. No agenda, just deep connection. I'm calling it a moai. Would you join? Step 3. Hold your first meeting. Agree on day and time, location, rotation, duration of 2 to 3 hours, and ground rules. Step 4. Establish the rules. Show up with emergencies as the only exception. Be honest and vulnerable. Don't try to fix each other. Just witness. What's said stays said. Celebrate together. Mourn together. Optional financial support fund. 52 meetings per year, every year, forever. Principle 9, right tribe, curate your social environment. Audit your current tribe ruthlessly. Do they encourage healthy or unhealthy behaviors? Do you feel energized or drained after spending time together? Are they growing or stagnating? Join groups aligned with healthy goals, community gardens, walking groups, cooking classes, volunteer organizations, spiritual communities. Attend consistently for 3+ months to build real connections. Remember, you are the average of your 5 closest friends. If those 5 are unhealthy, you'll be unhealthy. If those 5 are active, purpose-driven, and connected, you'll be too. The Austin Moai, 12 years strong. In 2012, 6 women in Austin, Texas, ages 55 to 62, met through church. One had visited Okinawa and learned about Moai. She proposed they try it. The first year was awkward and formal. Year 2, they started being real with each other. By year 5, they'd supported each other through 2 cancer diagnoses. Both survived, 3 divorces, 4 grandchildren born, and 1 bankruptcy. Year 10, they couldn't imagine life without each other. Today, all 6 are still meeting, no dropouts, average unintentional weight loss, 22 pounds. All 6 are off depression and anxiety medications, loneliness, 0. Life satisfaction, self-reported, 9 out of 10. Linda, now 74, says, "We thought we were just getting together for coffee. We accidentally saved each other's lives." The London floor sitter, 6 years. David, age 65, had chronic back pain. A knee replacement was scheduled. He read about Okinawan floor sitting and decided to try it. He removed his couch and bought floor cushions. The first month was agony. Month 3, the pain started lessening. Month 6, he canceled the knee surgery. 6 years later, no couch, no pain. He can squat fully, something he couldn't do at 64. He canceled his gym membership because his house became his gym. Now he teaches floor living workshops. The Sydney Garden grandma, 8 years. Margaret, 69, was a retired teacher spiraling into depression after her husband died and her children moved away. "I was waiting to die," she admits. A neighbor invited her to a community garden. She started with a 4x4-foot plot. She met other gardeners and they formed a moai. 8 years later, Margaret manages the entire community garden and teaches workshops. Her moai of 7 gardeners, ages 64 to 77, meets weekly. "I forgot I was supposed to be old," she says. She's lost 35 pounds unintentionally and is off antidepressants. The Calgary Purple Potato family, 4 years. A family of 4 with kids ages 8 and 11 replaced white potatoes with purple sweet potatoes. They added tofu 3 times weekly. They practiced hara hachi bu at dinner. 4 years later, family weight normalized. Kids actually prefer purple potatoes. They save $200 monthly on groceries. And family dinner became a non-negotiable ritual. "We accidentally became healthier by copying Okinawans," the mother says. You've watched this entire documentary. You've met centenarians who should be dead but aren't. You've learned the 9 secrets. You've seen regular people transform their lives. Now the only question is, will you? The 30-day Okinawan Challenge. Week 1 foundation, add a 30-minute daily walk at the same time, non-negotiable. Write down your ikigai in 1 sentence and refine it daily. On day 7, share your ikigai with 1 person for accountability. Week 2 nourishment. Add 1 plant-based meal daily while continuing your walk. Add a 15-minute daily downshift ritual. On day 14, try hara hachibu at every meal. Stop at 80% full. Week 3 connection. Identify 4 to 6 moai candidates. Send the Moai invitation. On day 21, host your first Moai meeting while continuing all previous habits. Week 4, integration. Keep all habits. They're easier now. Add a second plant-based meal daily. On day 28, sit on the floor during one meal. Day 30 assessment. Measure your weight. Expect 2 to 5 pounds lost. Energy, probably higher. Mood, likely improved. And connection, deeper relationships. Then decide, continue for life or quit. The tracking tool. We created a free 30-day Okinawan challenge tracker. Click the link in the description and we'll send it to you. It includes a daily habit checklist, Moai invitation template, purple sweet potato recipes, floor sitting guide, and Ikigai discovery workbook. We return to where we started. Gozei Shinzato in her garden at sunrise. She's tying sweet potato vines. The same shot that opened this documentary. But the camera pulls back further this time, revealing something we didn't see before. Her daughter, age 78, working beside her. Her granddaughter, age 52, bringing tea. Her great-granddaughter, age 24, learning to tie the knots. 4 generations. 158 years of life in this garden. Gozei has taught her daughter everything she knows. Her daughter is teaching her granddaughter. Her granddaughter is teaching her great-granddaughter. The chain continues. Gozei looks directly at the camera one last time. She speaks in Okinawan dialect, subtitled in English. People ask me, what is the secret to living so long? I tell them, there is no secret. I just never stopped doing what my grandmother did. She gardened. I garden. She ate from the earth. I eat from the earth. She had her friends. I have mine. She knew why she woke up each morning. So do I. That's all. You can do this too. You just have to choose it. Every single day. For the rest of your life. She smiles, returns to her work. The conversation is over. The narrator speaks one last time, voice full of emotion. The Okinawans aren't superhuman. They're super present, super connected, super purposeful. They simply never stopped doing what their bodies were designed for. Moving, growing food, loving each other, having a reason to wake up. And now you know their secrets. You have the blueprint. You have the evidence. You have the choice. The question isn't, can you live to 100 in vibrant health? The question is, will you? Gozei standing, stretching, looking at the sunrise with absolute peace. Text appears on screen. Gozei Shinzato, 1920-10, age 104, still gardening daily, still has work to do. Start your Moai today. Next episode, Sardinia, the island of stubborn shepherds, where men over 100 still walk mountains with their goats. And grandmother's jokes are spicier than her pasta. Subscribe now. Your 100-year-old self is waiting.